It is Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Welcome to another edition of Baseball Today. With me on the show, co-hosting is one of my favorite ball knowers, Dalton Feely, filling in for Chris Rose, who's hanging out with the Miz, big superstars over there in Europe. I get it, Rosie. Producer Dan, intern Sawyer, along for the ride as well. Dalton, my guy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. This is awesome. Trevor, you a little jealous that the Miz and Rosie are new best friends? Did he just steal your best friend from you?
No, because you know what's going to happen? They're going to get back stateside. They're having this romantic getaway. They're going to get back stateside, and the Miz is going to want nothing to do with you, Rosie, and you're going to come crawling
Whoa.
back to me. I know it.
Oh, no, come on. No one would ever do that to Rosie, Trev. That's so mean.
Everyone does love Rosie. We send the best to both of those guys. We're going to start the show, as we always do, with a tip of the cap, and this one goes out to Christian Moore, who didn't homer just once, but twice, and the second time didn't know that he had just hit a walk-off homer. You see him here. He gets the ball over the yellow line out there in Anaheim, gets to third base, and what does he do? Celebrates with the boys. They're like, hey, bro, we love the celebration, but that wasn't a triple. It was a walk-off homer. Fun to see him having some success out there to start his career. Shirt off, jacked up. Okay, Dot, what you got on that?
I, for one, think that's such a rookie moment to hit a walk-off home run and not know you hit a walk-off home run. That was electric. I mean, the celebration gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Locking eyes in the dugout, giving the old tongue wag and shaking the head celebration. I just tied this game up. And they're like, no, dude, you just walked it off for us. We just got that W. Great moment for him. That was an electric way to end basically the night of baseball.
You're already stoked because you hit a game-tying triple. Less than 2 outs, you're on third base. Like, we're going to win this game. Then you realize, hey, we already won. It's great. So love it for Christian Moore. Love it for the Angels. They're playing fun ball.
Wow, Swilly's Halos, they're doing something right now. A little magic.
Swilly. How about Swilly? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Swilly? You're like the new kid in town. Everyone's liking you. If the Angels start to get good, watch what happens. Start to turn against you, okay? Let's get to some topics. We had a huge debut last night in Cincinnati. Chase Burns going up against Dan Rourke's Yankees. What does he do? Only strike out the first 5 batters he faces. This guy blew through the minor league system with the Reds. Looked the part for sure. Ends up giving up 3 runs on 6 hits over 5 innings. Ben Rice with the homer. Volpe with a run-scoring triple. I guess the question I'm going to ask you, give me your thoughts on Burns, what you thought he looked like. But in that NL Central, we got some really, really great young pitchers. We all know about Paul Skeens. Jacob Mizorowski's kind of burst onto the scene as well. I got to see him up close and personal. So again, let me know what you thought about Chase Burns' debut. And then if you had to pick one of the two, I'm not going to include Paul Skeens in this question. If you had to pick one of the two to lead your team for the rest of the year, are you taking Chase Burns or Jacob Mizorowski?
I mean, both of those dudes have shoved through 3 career starts in the bigs, and it's early on, but I mean, we've seen flashes, man. Chase Burns, he was bringing that velo to start the game, 99, 100 throughout, especially in that first inning. And by the way, I know there was that viral clip of Jacob Mizorowski with that 96-mile-per-hour slider on Willie Castro, which was gross. But then Chase Burns is like, you know what? I'm going to do that too to my first batter. Trent Grisham gets that 91, 93-mile-per-hour slider right on the back foot. Good night, first strikeout. How you doing? Chase Burns, I think the biggest thing is he's the only pitcher in the last 50 years to strike out the first 5 guys of his career in his MLB debut. That's awesome. So, like, shout out Chase Burns. I know the Yankees kind of jumped on him on the first pitch during that 4th inning when they scored 3 runs. But besides that, man, for a first outing of your career, he seemed very calm, very poised. It was impressive. But between the two, going to the second question, Mizorowski versus Burns. I know Mizorowski had the 11 no-hit innings to start a career, electric from Milwaukee. I feel like it's so hard to pitch in a Great American Small Park, as some people call it. So I am going to go with Chase Burns. I know Andrew Abbott has been like the king so far in that Reds rotation, but man, it might be biased of watching Chase Burns last night pitch against Dan Rourke's Yankees, but it was very, very impressive. The second Reds pitcher since 1920 to strike out the side in his first game. Obviously, struck out the first 5. The velos are there. The slider was great. I think if he locates better on some first pitch strikes, to prevent opponents from jumping on him like the Yankees did, I think he's going to be a huge impact on that Reds rotation that could potentially fight for a playoff spot still.
I mean, they're when healthy, they're the best young pitching staff in all of baseball. I don't even think there's
Wow.
any. Is there debating that? Who else do you got? I
I
mean, the way
know.
that Abbott throws the ball and is such like a counter to the rest of the guys in that rotation that are bringing the cheese. Like you got a crafty lefty.
Yeah.
I just love everything about it. I'm going Jacob Mizorowski if I had to choose between, and maybe it's a little bit of recency bias. I just saw him absolutely shove against my Twins. But give me the guy like you mentioned that went 11 straight no-hit innings to start his career. The only reason he gave up a hit in that seventh inning against the Twins is because his team was hitting for 30 minutes in the bottom half of the other inning. Like he was sitting on the bench. Pat Murphy should have took him out of the game. They're up 9-0, I believe, at the time. If I was Murphy, I think I even said on the broadcast, like, take this guy out, let him marinate on those 11 no-hit innings. But he is absolutely filthy. And I was wondering, Chase Burns, you remember him at Wake Forest and like the emotion he had in college. And I'm always like, hey man, like, are these guys going to carry that over into the professional ranks and into the big leagues? I didn't see that out of him last night. Like he was pretty stoic, which,
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some nerves there. What shocked me was Jacob Mizorowski's a dog. He's out there fist pumping, smiling, laughing, going crazy. So I didn't have that for Mizorowski. And I guess if you're going to pitch like that, you can do it. I'll go Jacob Mizorowski. You're going Chase Burns. I don't think there's a wrong answer to that question.
Two dogs. I mean, it's just basically who you got at this point because I think both of them will be very good for the rest of the year.
So we go from very good to not so good. We had a couple young NL Central outfielders last night fall into some bad habits, I guess. Oneil Cruz, he actually ended up getting benched after his final at bat because he failed to run out this double play ball. He's one of the fastest guys in the big leagues. He was just jogging right here. I believe Andrew McCutchen was on deck. Manager Don Kelly cited energy and effort as the reason for pulling Cruz. We'll see if he's in the lineup today. And then over in Chicago, our guy PCA, big mental mistake here. He forgot how many outs there were after catching a fly ball. Mason Wynn with one out. He was on second base. He was going to tag to third, but as they realized that Pete Crow forgot how many outs there were, ends up scoring in a game that means a lot in the NL Central standing. So I guess my question to you there, Dalt, is if you were the manager, what play are you more mad about?
I think I'm more mad at Oneil Cruz, and I think the biggest reason why it's a little bit of a boy who cried wolf. And I'm not saying Oneil Cruz lied about how many forgetting how many outs there were in a situation, thinking there was 2 outs when he hit that ground ball, thought the flip would end the inning. But we've kind of seen Oneil Cruz have some effort issues in the past too. Not even a week ago, they played the Rangers, and there is a line drive that bounces in front of him, and it goes right by him underneath the glove, and he doesn't go after the ball. Like, he just stands and watches. He's like, woe is me, and whatever. But again, this has happened, the second incident that has happened in the last 5 days for Oneil Cruz. So I think Don Kelly, at this point, again, interim manager taking over for Derek Shelton's like, at this point, I got to lay down the law. I understand that Oneil Cruz is one of the best players in baseball, athletically speaking. It's 99 percentile in basically arm strength and average exit velocity. But right now, he's given 0 percentile in effort. And I understand the Pirates are not a good team, tied for the third worst winning percentage in baseball this year currently. And so maybe if he's on a different team, he has a different mindset. That said, there are so many minor leaguers that would crave to be in the spot Oneil Cruz is. So I get he's physically gifted. But that said, play your heart out, man. Like, you're in the big leagues. I understand everything going on around you. But fool me one time, fool me twice. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% more mad at Oneil Cruz here. This is how mistakes go. Physical errors you can't do anything about. And then I think it goes mental errors where you don't really want to have that happen. And then, dude, effort, like not giving a full effort, that's the thing that's going to make the manager more mad than anything. So I've been in Pete Crow's shoes. I've forgotten outs on the field. It's terrible. You feel so bad, and it shouldn't happen at the big league level, especially there's the outs are everywhere you look. There are scoreboards everywhere in today's game. So it should never really be lost on you. But I think one thing you can say about PCA is you're never going to have to question his attitude or effort or hustle. I mean, he is like the hustle king in baseball now. And you can tell how bad he feels right there. On the flip side, yeah, Oneil, like you're trying to set a standard. Okay. Yeah. You don't want to be on a bad baseball team. Then let's play better. Let's set the tone. And Don Kelly, surely as an interim manager, has to do that. So I would assume that he's going to be benched today. That's what I would think. We saw Pat Murphy do that with Sal Frelick earlier in the year. He had a couple of those meetings, and those teams, and Murphy came out and said this. I asked him about it before a game. He said this actually a couple of times. He goes, we're a team that's a small market. We can't go out there and get these big-time free agents, so we're going to have to win within the margins. Part of that is base running, taking the extra bases, attitude, hustle. That's where we have to live if we want to be successful in this league. Don Kelly has to send that message. I guarantee Andrew McCutchen took him over to the side and said, hey, man, this is how we play baseball in Pittsburgh, and if you don't want to play that way, then we're going to have to send you out of here. So do I think both these guys are going to be fine? Yes, but Oneil Cruz definitely, as you mentioned, a couple times has happened over the last few weeks. He's got to get it right.
Yeah, and the one thing, thank you for bringing up Andrew McCutchen, because when Oneil Cruz was talking about the situation at the end of the game and the post game, he'd mentioned that, we have Andrew McCutchen and Tommy Pham, two veteran players that play the game hard 100% all the time. And Cruz said, the teaching point for me is, I play with McCutchen and Pham, who are really good examples. They always run hard. I accept what DK said and came to me, and I got to be better. And
great answer.
Fantastic answer. So I at least appreciate that Oneil's like, hey, I made a mistake. I know I didn't put hustle into the double play ball, trying to run it to first base, but I'll right that wrong. I accept what I did and the consequences that come with it, but I'll be better for the future from it.
You know what? I think it just goes to show what Don Kelly thinks about Oneil Cruz. Like you should be a premier player in this game. You have to hustle. And here's a dirty little secret, everyone. It's impossible to hustle every play. There's always people say he hustles every single play. I guarantee you name a player, I can find a video of him not hustling. Okay. So let's not all act like we're all high and mighty here. It's a teaching lesson for a young kid. Well, I don't know how young he is anymore.
I'll say 25.
Okay, whatever. We're still on Oneil Cruz, but especially after that answer, I like that answer in the post game right there. Let's move on. Before we get to question 3, I got to tell you a little bit about 5 Hour Energy. Today's episode is sponsored by 5 Hour Energy. Baseball season is here. Lots of games to watch each night. Grab a 5 Hour Energy to stay alert to watch all your favorite teams. If you stayed up late to see that intense doubleheader, take a 5 Hour Energy shot in the morning so you can start your day. Go to 5 Hour Energy's website to find over 15 flavors to choose from. With flavors like watermelon, tropical burst, cherry, peach mango, and more, there's a flavor for everybody. I like the mixed berry. On the site, you even have the option to build your own 12-pack or 24-pack. You choose the flavors, and it's delivered right to your door. Right now, you have a chance to win $10,000 for your ultimate summer. Take your shot with 5 Hour Energy and make this summer your best one yet. Visit 5heshot.com for full details. That's 5heshot.com for full details and rules. And enter today. No purchase necessary. This offer ends June 30th, 2025. Now back to the show.
Well done, Trev.
Thanks, guys. I take 5 Hour Energy when I need a boost, and let me tell you something. It gives you a boost right there.
You're on a road trip, Trev. You need it. I mean, 100%. You're getting through these games in Minnesota. Let's go.
Speaking of a boost, this team don't need no boost. They're seeing over everybody. Top of the pedestal, the Tigers.
Yeah.
They improved to 50-30. Beautiful round number after an 11-4 win over the A's. Dylan Dingler, of course it was Dylan, broke a 4-4 tie with a 3-run homer in the bottom of the third, and the Tigers never looked back. They're the first team to 50 wins this season, and they continue to prove they're one of Major League Baseball's most complete teams. So I guess my question to you, Dalt, is we're halfway through the season. Are the Tigers unquestionably the best team in baseball right now?
Well, definitely in the American League. I think for sure.
That's not the question, Dalt. Yeah, that's not the question.
You didn't like my run around? Oh, man. I think they will be the best team in baseball if if there's a huge if did I say if they do this at the deadline, I think they need one or two pieces, and then I feel very, very good about this team. Number one, they need a late inning arm in that bullpen, especially someone who could strike guys out, like a Sir Anthony Dominguez or an Aroldis Chapman. If the Red Sox do sell, I think those guys would really help the bullpen. They don't walk guys; they're first in walks per 9 in that bullpen, so that's awesome. But 28th in Ks per 9, so we're not punching tickets either. And I think that's something that they could acquire, and maybe get a third baseman too. All that being said, Trev, this team is right now the best. The record shows it. 50-30, as you said. The lineup is 4th in runs scored this season. They have Green, Torkelson, and Carpenter. They each have 14 home runs. That's a fantastic trio. Even with Kerry Carpenter being a little cool as of late, he's been having some struggles trying to bounce out of it. But man, the rotation, that's been their big thing. They're pitching chaos, and they've been 4th in ERA, 4th in Ks per 9, and they're doing it with basically without all their guys. Alex Cobb, Reese Olson, Jackson Jobe, all on the IL. Casey Mize missed some time. He's back. Had some cramps too. And even your guy, Flaherty, like he's had a little bit of some struggles this year in that rotation. And guess what? The Tigers, with all of that, are still producing as the number 1 team in baseball. I will say definitively the best team in the American League. And I want to give them the MLB. I think they need to make a couple moves before I can completely say they are the best team in baseball.
So your answer is no.
No. Is that I might have gave you a convoluted way of saying no?
This is what Rosie would do to me. This is what Rosie would do to me. You said yes in the American League.
Yeah, I did.
You said no in Major League Baseball.
I did say no.
I'm assuming you're saying the Dodgers are the best team in baseball still.
They're just inevitable, Trev. I don't even need any of my numbers. You know I'm a nerd. I love my stats. They're so banged up, and they're still not playing great. And guess what? They're still going to be one of the best teams in baseball.
I think right now they might be 1 game back of the Tigers in the standings.
I think they have 49. I think they won last night.
They are
49. So they're right there, and I would put them over Detroit. Sadly,
I agree with you. I think the Dodgers are still the best team in baseball. They are. They do feel inevitable, and maybe Detroit fans will be mad at that and call that a cop-out answer. But I mean, just go look at what they've done as they've been banged up. They're searching for arms. I mean, 50-year-old Clayton Kershaw is still out there twirling the pill for them, but they're finding ways to win. Again, 1 game back. So I still am going to give the nod to them. But I do want to talk about the Tigers and just how great it's been to watch them. I had question marks about the offense. Everybody knows that. Torkelson has actually slowed down significantly in the month of June. I think he's got like a 5 in the 5s OPS for June. But that doesn't matter because Javi Baez is having his best month of the year. He's gotten better every single month. He went 745 in April and March, 765 in May, and now 912 in June. Riley Green has picked up the slack when Torkelson's left off. He's dotting it in June. Okay, so they're getting Gleyber Torres has been pretty dang consistent. So all these guys, we kind of had question marks, like where's the offense going to come from? They're figuring it out. 1 through 9, like it's a different cast of characters, playing hero quite often with the Tigers. And one thing that I looked at, I'm like, okay, let me just find a hole. And I was like, okay, 30th in stolen bases. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Just behind my Twins who don't steal any freaking bags. And I've been yelling at them about their base running all the homestand long. But here's the thing. The Tigers are one of the best base running teams in baseball as well. They don't need to steal bases because they're going 1st to 3rd more than any other team. If you use the stat BSR, they're 5th in all of baseball. So they're not stealing bags, but they're taking the extra base when it's available, and that's all you really need to do. Their roster is not a speed roster, but they're still putting pressure on defenses. So you're talking about an offense that, what did you say, 4th in runs scored?
Yep.
That's insane. We know what the pitching staff can do. I agree that there can be some additions there to provide some depth, but even if they just went with what they had, they'd be just fine. And then you add in the base running as well, and it just becomes like, okay, they're doing everything well. And if you want to mention AJ Hinch, you can. I do think he, more than any manager, has affected games positively throughout baseball. I'm a big proponent of managers don't do much. I think he might be a little bit different. And I don't like to say that about my guy AJ Hinch because I have still some leftover feelings about him, but I'll go Dodgers number 1. I don't think the Tigers are far behind. And if you're a Tigers fan, come on, how can you not be happy about being
Absolutely.
right behind what we called the best roster maybe ever assembled in Major League Baseball history.
Absolutely. I do want to say, Trev, you gave me so much flack for my answer, and then you just basically piggybacked off of it, saying,
My initial answer was no. No, I said no, they're not the best team in baseball. I wanted to give them love because if I didn't, I'd be getting it all in the comments. And I need to, look, I understand what they're doing out there. It's awesome. But I
yeah,
also know that the Dodgers are, it's nuts, dude.
I mean, it's crazy. They're not playing their best ball. I do love that you mentioned the base running. Joey Cora, just waving them around. You don't have to be fast to be a good base runner, and that's really what the Tigers' identity is. So that's a fantastic point.
Here we go, man. Let's move on to our next question here. This one is near and dear to producer Dan's heart. Last night in that Yankees-Reds game, Jazz Chisholm was ejected from the ballgame after a poor strike call and was tossed in between innings. Jazz said, I got tossed for saying, why are you looking at me? And I don't think that's a good reason to toss anybody. Dalton, just give me your thoughts on this entire situation.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a lot of context to this. Watching this live was very odd between the at bat, end of the inning, going into the next inning, and then he's ejected. He's out. Basically starts the 2-0 pitch being low, and he's not happy about it. The entire at bat, it feels like the energy's gone, the aura's gone. He's kind of checked out. He strikes out. We go to the next inning, he gets ejected. I think there's two big things from this. One, both John Sadak of the Reds broadcast and Michael Kay of the Yankees broadcast had mentioned that Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire, had been calling that low pitch a strike for a majority of the game. And we're now, I believe it was the ninth inning when this at bat happens. By then, we should know what the zone is. And I understand it's not a strike. Jazz is 1,000% right. It's not a strike. But it has been getting called all game. The second point that I think is important, Michael Kay, Yankees broadcaster, Jazz's broadcaster, basically, home broadcaster. He said, when Jazz got ejected, Jazz Chisholm just got thrown out and really has no one else to blame but himself. I know he didn't like the call, but he has been chirping at Wegner. This was far after the heat of the moment. Wegner gave him a lot of leash. Like, with all that being said, Jazz, you got to accept some responsibility of causing this, right? And at this point, I'm against Jazz here. If your home broadcaster is saying, hey, you deserve to get thrown out, you probably deserve to get thrown out.
I'm glad you gave the context to the entire situation. And I know Mark Wegner, from my playing days, been around for a long time. He's not a guy that's just going to run you for no reason. I think he's a guy that you can actually talk to about his pitch calling. And look, they're all going to miss pitches. And as you said, he was given that low call the entire night. Whether that's right or wrong, obviously that one was a ball. I think as a hitter, if you put yourself in Jazz's shoes, you a lot of the times the strike zone. Sometimes you get a little awry and you don't know, but that was a clear ball, and you want the call to go in your favor. The one thing you cannot do is let it affect the rest of your bat. After he fouled the next pitch off, which I think was a ball that he swung at, and I don't know for sure, but I'm almost positive he looked back and said, I swung at that because of the first call. Like, right. I've said that to umpires. Like, I went after that because I knew you were going to call it a strike, and it starts to get in your head, and you just can't allow that. Now, Jazz is not like a rookie anymore. I'd consider him a veteran. What is he got, 5 years in, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, from Miami gets traded, I think it's his 5th, maybe 6th year.
So, like, he understands the game. And look, emotions are going to run high from time to time. He's a guy that plays with a lot of emotion. That's why we love Jazz and right. Love what he looks like on the field. By the way, wears a great uni. I don't love all the accessories all the time, but, like, the uni fits well. Jazz, attaboy. So, yeah, I think he'll look back at this and say, what was I doing? Like, there's no reason to get ejected. I'm trying to stay in the game, help my team win this ball game. Clearly the Yankees are struggling right now. What are they? In the last 10, are they 1-9 too? Oh, they're 3-7.
Yeah, 9 of their last 12 they've lost.
1-9 is the Mets and the Twins. Sorry, my bad. The other all our teams are struggling except for yours. So, yeah, I think at that moment, you got to have all hands on deck. And I think Jazz understands that. He'll probably learn from this situation. But, yeah, you just can't really do that.
Judge walked out with him to try and calm him down going onto the field. So, obviously, there is some lingering feelings. At that point, like, you can't let it affect your play. That at bat, like you said, going into the field too, Got to stay in the game. It's a tie game. Like,
Gotta stay in the game. Gotta stay in the game.
go to the bench. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of that other 1-9 team, let's talk about the Mets and the Braves, who were playing an interdivision series. Spencer Strider on the mound, Juan Soto up to bat, and Spencer Strider catches Juan looking, and Juan's not too happy about the call. He's asking a question. Hey, man, was that inside? And Spencer Strider had some really funny things to say as he was coming off the mound.
After Soto
Spencer Strider is an absolute character out there. The game is better when he's on the mound with those big old skis. He says, Juan, that was right down the middle. It wasn't right down the middle, and he missed his spot. But it was a strike. It was on the corner there. And I maybe I didn't like him when I was playing. I guess sometimes I did. Like the batter-pitcher interactions that we've been seeing throughout the league have been really, really funny. And I think more so nowadays they are like fun. Like you saw Strider at the end there, he was smirking at Soto, and it was like social media and guys moving teams, and like you growing up playing against guys in showcases, like everyone kind of knows each other. So like there is a camaraderie even between teams. I know people don't want to hear that in a heated rivalry like this, but there are moments that are fun like that. So we were talking about what we're going to do for this last question. I said, let's go back and get our favorite batter pitcher interactions. And I'll start this one off before we go. This one is near and dear to my heart. This is Torrey Hunter, who hated getting hit by pitches. Check what he does. First of all, he goes down, but watch what he does after. Al Newman trying to calm him down, takes the ball and absolutely chucks it back at the pitcher. My guy T Nuts, I'm telling you, man, he hated getting hit by pitches. Show it again, Dan. Start from the beginning. Just how he goes down is so good.
It's like he's a movie scene. I've been shot.
It doesn't feel good, doll. I'll tell you that right now, especially in the ribs. But to have the wherewithal to pick the ball up and throw it at the pitcher is so good.
I mean, just so the emotions, like, come on. Like, what are we doing? That's great. What
do you got, doll? I asked you for yours, too. What do you got?
You made me feel bad because I don't think I can top that. That's awesome. I do say Strider should have said paint job instead of right down the middle. Call him Bob Ross because that was a beautiful pitch. I mean, my gosh. But for batter-pitcher interaction, I'm going to show my bias, my homer. Randy Johnson, before he's on the Diamondbacks, John Kruk All-Star game. I know the All-Star game is different, but first pitch, Randy throws 20 feet in the air, not even close. John Kruk is cracking up at this point. Like, he's like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? Next pitch Randy throws, John Kruk is like, what the hell at this point? And he has no idea. And we have guys in the dugout just cracking up thinking it's the funniest thing. He flails at the slider that's right down the middle. It's the most uncomfortable at bat. And at the end of it, like, when you have people, big leaguers that you play with cracking up at the at-bat you're taking versus a future Hall of Famer, and him throwing the stuff and laughing it off, like, that's an awesome moment. I loved it. I know it's an all-star game and it's a little bit different, but I think that's one of my favorite moments in baseball history because it's so great.
Dude, I mean, Randy did that intentionally, right? Like, he was throwing up in just to mess with him, and then ends up breaking a slider off. And just imagine being in the box. First of all, lefties hate facing lefties.
Right.
And then you got a guy like Randy Johnson, who is like the most abnormal lefty maybe in the history of baseball, coming at you, 10 feet tall, and that arm angle. And I just imagine being John Kruk being like, I want no part of this. He's like, I've been up all night since the home run derby slamming beers, most likely. Allegedly.
Like,
right. He's probably seeing 3 baseballs right there, and then all of a sudden you get one whizzing 98 miles by your head.
Not a good feeling.
That's, I love baseball for moments like that, just having fun out there. And I think it brings everyone back to backyard baseball with your boys, or, whatever little league you played at. Like, there's always going to be those fun moments within the game. And that's why we love the sport so much, Dalton.
It's awesome. I mean, you got to love baseball. There's been some great ones this year, too, with some Scooble talking to Salvi and Bregman and Neto. It's great to have these moments. I think social media does help with that, too.
Yeah, wasn't there just the Devers Chapman where they tip the cap at the same time.
At the exact same time. It was crazy. That was like Matrix kind of vibe right there. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool right there. All right, man. I appreciate you coming on. That's going to do it for today, Dalt. One of the best ball knowers that I know. So we're lucky to have you here at Jumbo Media and on this show. I appreciate you filling in for C Rose. So for my guy, Dalton Feely, for producer Dan and intern Sawyer, I am your host, Trevor Plouffe. We will see you not tomorrow because we have a scheduling conflict, but we'll see you on Friday, June 27th for the next edition of Baseball Today.